Human Reproduction Video 5, and in this video, which is the final video, we cover birth, birth control and IVF. So how long is pregnancy? Will it last 40 weeks or 9 months? And this is counted from the first day of the last menstrual period, so 40 weeks or 9 months. Birth and pregnancy is all controlled by hormones, so it's important that you know something about the main ones. So you know that progesterone and estrogen was secreted by the corpus luteum. This was formed in the ovary after ovulation. Well, the corpus luteum has continued to secrete these two hormones, but from the 3rd month, it's the placenta that takes over and it starts to produce progesterone and estrogen. Progesterone is really important because it maintains the pregnancy. And the first stage of birth, labour, commences when progesterone levels drop. So progesterone levels drop because the placenta stops producing progesterone. So the pituitary gland also at this time produces another hormone, oxytocin, and this causes the uterine walls to contract. The corpus luteum was formed in the ovary after ovulation. It produces progesterone and estrogen. Progesterone and estrogen are responsible for building up the endometrium and maintaining it, and progesterone is responsible for maintaining the pregnancy. So then the placenta takes over from the corpus luteum from month 3, so it's fully functioning then, and it produces progesterone and estrogen. Progesterone maintains the pregnancy, and estrogen prepares the uterine wall for birth, but does lots of other things too. So towards the end of pregnancy, the placenta stops producing progesterone, oxytocin is produced by the pituitary gland, and it causes the uterus walls to contract and also causes those contractions to intensify, which is really important. So oxytocin causes contractions and those contractions to intensify. So now we're on to the birth process, which is made up of 3 stages. Really important that you know that. Stage 1 is the longest and it's known as labour, and it all starts with contractions of the uterine wall. So the uterus starts to contract, and these contractions or squeezing motions will cause the amnion, that membrane, to burst or to rupture, and this releases amniotic fluid. So this is your waters breaking. All of these contractions push the baby head first down towards the cervix, the neck of the uterus, which is thinning out and stretching, dilating to 10 centimetres. So 10 centimetres is the point at which the lady can push the baby out of the uterus. So the second stage is the delivery of the baby. The contractions of the uterine wall push the baby out of the uterus. It passes down the birth canal, which is the vagina, and the baby is born head first. The umbilical cord is clamped and then cut. The final stage, and a very important stage, is the delivery of the placenta. So it's called the afterbirth. So the afterbirth is delivered. Lactation is the production and secretion of breast milk, and it's controlled by prolactin, this hormone that's secreted by the pituitary gland. Prolactin travels to the mammary glands of the breasts, where it stimulates the production of milk. But during pregnancy, the placenta produces progesterone and estrogen, and this inhibits the secretion of prolactin. But with birth, the placenta is no longer there, so it's not producing estrogen and progesterone. The levels drop, and so prolactin secretion is no longer inhibited, so the mammary glands can produce breast milk. You now know that the pituitary gland secretes prolactin, and this stimulates those mammary glands in the breast to produce milk. But the pituitary gland also secretes another hormone. Again, it's oxytocin, but oxytocin is responsible this time for stimulating the ducts, the tubes in the breast, to release the milk. Breast milk will continue to be produced as long as the baby suckles on the breast or the mother uses a breast pump, because suckling stimulates prolactin secretion. Breastfeeding benefits both the baby and the mother. So let's discuss the baby first. Well, breast milk contains antibodies from the mother, so this is a source of passive natural immunity. Breast milk is also nutritionally balanced, so it's very good for the baby nutritionally. It promotes bonding between the baby and the mother, which is good for both, and it also stimulates the uterus to contract back to the normal size faster, so this is beneficial for the mother. So what is contraception? Well, it's the measures taken to intentionally prevent, so to intentionally stop fertilization or implantation from happening. So you want to prevent pregnancy, and there are 4 categories. Mechanical, for example, the condom and the diaphragm and the coil. Chemical, these would be based on the pill or the arm implant. Surgical in males would be the vasectomy, in females tubule ligation, and natural methods would be abstinence or the rhythm method, which is basically avoiding intercourse in the fertile period. So next it's infertility. So male infertility is the inability to fertilize an egg. It can be caused by low sperm count, a high number of abnormal sperm, or sperm that don't move as much as they should, so they're not as motile. The treatment, well, to improve diet, stop smoking if you are, and to limit your intake of alcohol. And if these measures don't improve things, well then IVF. Female infertility is the inability to conceive. It can be caused by a failure to ovulate, possibly due to hormonal issues, so endocrine issues, or it could be down to fallopian tubes being blocked. The treatment to stimulate ovulation is medication, so the lady is given hormones to stimulate or to promote ovulation. If the fallopian tubes are damaged, there is the possibility of surgery, however that's not often successful. Another solution is IVF, or in vitro fertilization. So what is in vitro fertilization? Well, it's fertilization that takes place outside of the body. So first of all, the lady's eggs, the female's eggs, would be harvested, several of them at once. This is to increase the chances of success. The male's sperm is collected, fertilization takes place in a lab, and 1 or 2 embryos is implanted. So you have to know a menstrual disorder, and the one we discuss is fibroids. So fibroids are these benign growths in the uterine wall, and they're very common in females. And if you were to look inside the uterus with a camera, they look like these smooth, round-shaped structures. So in some females, they cause heavy menstrual bleeding and pain, and that's the reason why they're treated. So the treatment could be surgical removal of the fibroid, or in extreme cases, hysterectomy. So at the end of this video, what should I know? Well, know the length of gestation and know the hormones that are involved in the onset of labour, particularly progesterone and oxytocin. So just know that estrogen is also secreted by the placenta, but it's progesterone and oxytocin. Know the 3 stages of birth and what happens. Discuss lactation, prolactin, its role, and oxytocin, don't forget that too. The benefits of breastfeeding, methods of contraception, the 4 categories, causes and treatments for male and female infertility, and a disorder of the menstrual cycle, fibroids. So the very best of luck with all of the revision. Make sure you're doing past papers now to help you. Best of luck.